What up, y'all? Back again. This is South Bend, Indiana, and these are late 1800s structures. These are structures we built before we had any power tools, any hydraulics, any AC or DC electric. This is how built out we are. We're talking, I think there was around 25,000 people supposedly in this city, in this area, and they had fully built it out like this. So why don't we build this stuff today? And especially with the equipment we have, we should be able to far surpass this stuff. But what you're going to find is we don't build stuff like this at all. We build prefab, a faux fake of this. So please help me understand how in Indiana in the mid to late 1800s we were building things like this. Look at that. With a chisel, a hammer, a mule, and a candle. But when it comes to refurbishing and remodeling these places that need work done to them, just decide not to demolish. We need cranes and all kinds of people and generators and equipment. And most of the time, we don't even know where to get started because we have no idea how they did the stuff to begin with. What kind of masonry they use, because Portland cement or something, and we don't even know where Portland cement came from. If you look into that, just everything in regards to these buildings and structures, they're just beautiful and ornate, and we just demolish them left and right as if we could build them tomorrow and build them within a 6-month period or a couple of months or whatever. But when you look at the historical narrative, you'll find that these structures also were built very quickly, ultra quick. When we had no equipment and very few people, we really, according to our historical narrative, were not the most intelligent of the bunch compared to generation. And we seem to have built out all of these structures and had the best brickwork. We're talking about the finest brick masons you've ever seen in your life. We're talking about having ornate bridges and ornate structures and ornaments on these buildings from top to bottom, and it wasn't necessary, or it was just an everyday thing. But today we have a hard time building a rectangle building with everything plastic. Why is that? Why is it that we can build this stuff? It was all hand carved, and we're talking about handmade everything. And then we have the mysterious windows going into the ground, but nobody wants to talk about that. They just want to call it a basement. Look at Notre Dame. This situation here was built something along the lines of some of this stuff burned down and they rebuilt it in like 6 months. Do you see that huge building right there was built in 6 months according to our historical narrative? And when you get to these stadiums and arenas and things, I'll tell you, man, a lot of these schools and things, we acquired them. Look at the windows going into the ground. They're all sunk in the mud. And just amazing, ornate, beautiful structures. They have to put a fence around that because all the craziness. That's where it was. It was built in like 6 months. Look at that thing, 6 months, y'all. Do you believe that? Because I've done construction, man. It's hard to build just a regular old house in 6 months. Anyway, nevertheless, just to have the structures available and the heights of the ceilings, we're talking about granite and marble staircases and handrails. We're talking about hand carved, y'all. Look at that, sunk in the mud. It's top heavy. Repurposed structures. Some of these were like libraries. That was an elementary school. These are like schools and hospitals, y'all. Sunk in the mud, look at it. And you got to look at the facade around the structure, because that's where the illusion will be held usually, because they're covering up the fact that there was a worldwide catastrophe at some point between 1776 and 1812 with no narrative in our history suggesting that was the case. Everything's mud flooded out. The cupolas, a lot of times they'll strip the cupolas and all the tops of the buildings, anything with the jewelry on it, the ornateness. So it would sidetrack you from really sticking out like a sore thumb. I mean, look at this. It goes another story in the ground. You could tell by looking at the structure. And then they had a lot of fountains, and the fountains were, some believe, to cool the antiquitech technology that they used that was free, y'all. Look at this. They just destroy these structures, man. They put all their signage and crap on them, and they bulldoze them left and right to get rid of them, or they strip them of their jewelry or their ornateness, their architecture, to make them look plain like the rest of the structures you see today, so they just fit in. But when you have an eye to see, you wipe the scales from your eyes, you see a whole, look at that's what it originally was. Look at this. I mean, you're talking about, and every area seemed to have an auditorium or amphitheater. I mean, look at this stonework, man. It's like in the middle, looks like nowhere. Sloping hills, just the windows going right into it, all the way up. Sunk. Thank you for watching. Give me a like, subscription. Love y'all till next time. Peace.